Right. Big WTF. This is my favorite probably of the show.
Mhm.
Next to my thing, a nice little breakdown from Protocol on the behaviors of Elastic. What's it called? How can you stretch an open source business model until it breaks? And I called it Elastic Snaps, but bend it till it breaks. Elastic. Well, we talked about that. We talked. We think we did talk about this on a previous show
Yes.
on version 0, where Elastic obviously got very annoyed that AWS just kind of forked and ran with OpenSearch, based on Elasticsearch having used their brand and their name for how long to, I don't know. It actually says in here, to make a ton of money. I'm like, really? I don't think that's it. AWS doesn't see that as a lot of money, but
Yeah.
I get it. But the point is, it seems to have instigated a series of backlash little moments here where Elastic cut off access to language for libraries that developers could use to build apps that would then use on the OpenSearch fork,
Mm-hmm.
and then cut them off if they were using the libraries but weren't paying for Elasticsearch's commercial product. So now it's like, what? And in the GitHub thread, of course, obviously here, you can see people getting like, because just stuff stops working, right? And the guy's like, what? So he's essentially, his gist here is that this kind of action forces somebody to choose. Instead of me developing a product that allows the user to choose between OpenSearch and Elasticsearch, because there's some form of parity, because I can use the same, because essentially the libraries will still work. You're forcing me to choose OpenSearch or Elasticsearch, but it's the Elasticsearch side that is angering me
Yeah.
into wanting to go to the other one.
Yep. Yeah.
And
They were kind of backed into a
and that
corner, though. I mean, partially
they,
because of
they
Amazon and partially because of,
Mhm.
well, I think the biggest conversation we had in the previous season was don't name your open source tool the same name as your business, right?
Yeah, I know. And you said,
And
and
this,
then I realized, yeah, good.
yeah, and the other thing too is they chose the specific license that was that you were able to do it. So AWS basically took Elastic, ran with it, and offered an Elastic service, um, and yeah, that was the lesson learned. I think from most open source companies, it does raise an interesting question of like how far can you stretch open source business? Because this business model has been widely adapted now, right, by
Hmm.
tons of companies. I'd say almost every company now, right? Like
There's a lot of them.
Microsoft uses open source, so there's a lot of companies there. It's I think Elastic is a specific use case. I don't think it's gonna be the last one that we see that's something that's like this necessarily, but
Yeah, it's going to be interesting that how it resolves. I don't know if this person. It says they shut it down, which they did shut down the conversation. I don't know if this person works there, but the comment that OpenSearch is a different product. Oh yeah, they do. Yeah. So there we go. And it's like, is it? I mean, just because you fork it doesn't mean it is now. I mean, there could be a choice to collaborate and open core it, but allow people to add extra pieces, right? But
yeah,
anyway,
I think for a lot of these companies, the open source is where their engineers work, and they
right.
allow a few others to join in to have impact, right? And so without forking it, without setting these boundaries of the different dependencies and how you're managing it, basically Amazon is taking engineering resources from Elastic and calling it Elastic, which to
Yeah,
me it's
that's
just rubbing salt on the wound, so to speak. So I kind of understand it. It's like, okay, well, you got your fork. We're gonna go and pivot course for the application. We're gonna do our own engineering efforts and do something different. And if you want to go in your own path, you can do that. Amazon, you won the first round, so to speak.
yeah. I know it's like
Yeah,
I'm playing both sides. It's one of those things where it's like, but if you're changing for the sake of screwing Amazon and it's not really, it wasn't necessarily a product,
I don't think
like
they're
you're just
changing for
cutting
the
the
sake of
libraries off.
screwing Amazon. I think they're changing to keep the business alive. which
Okay.
like it's like when you back somebody in a corner and you get pissed that they fight back. I think too a little bit. It's just unfortunate that the average developer who wants to use it gets caught in the middle, right?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.